All right, so this is my ranking of the 30 movies I saw in 2025 at the theater that were released in 2025. I give those qualifications because I mostly saw movies in the theater this year because I had a Regal Unlimited pass and I saw a lot more movies than I have in previous recent years. And also, I saw several movies in the theater that were not released in 2025 that were, some of them were holdovers from last year, like 2024 movies. And then I saw a bunch of classic movies too, like I saw The Shining, I saw This is Spinal Tap, I saw Parasite, Do the Right Thing, The Reanimator, Spring Breakers. Yeah, I just saw a bunch of classic movies because at least the Regal Cinema where I live plays a lot of them, and there was a lot more I wanted to watch, but they're usually only playing for one day, so if you miss it, you miss it. But anyway, digressing. And I'm just going to give a couple more qualifiers before I start the list. A couple of these might be technically 2024 movies, like that might be what it says on IMDb or Google or whatever. But in my opinion, if a movie doesn't get a wide release until 2025, that's what it should count as. So, like, if a movie played at a film festival in 2024, but I wouldn't have been able to see it till this year, I'm counting that as 2025. And also, most of these are good movies. I try to see only movies I think I'm going to like, so I don't go out of my way to watch, like, The Electric State or Snow White or stuff I think I'm not going to like or I hear bad things about. So, even if a movie you really like is near the bottom of the list, I probably still didn't think it was that bad or maybe even thought it was pretty good. But with all that said, I will jump into the list. At number 30, I have Dangerous Animals. This was a disappointment. This is the one movie I really kind of just flat out didn't like that I saw. Give it 2 out of 5. And there's actually good elements to it still. Like, it's not like a terrible movie overall. Like, when looking at it objectively, there's some good performances, and it's trying to do something different. But I think it has an identity crisis. Like, it wants to be this subversive serial killer movie, but it also kind of just wants to be like a trashy one note forgettable thriller. I was kind of liking it for the first like half hour or so, but I don't know, by the end it turns into what I call an and then movie, which is a movie where things just kind of happen and happen, and it's like a child telling you a story, like, and then they got tied up by the bad guy, and then they escape, and then they swim to shore, and then the bad guy catches them again, and then they escape again. And it's just like kind of this endless stream of just like events that kind of lost my interest after a while. There's a song motif involving this obscure Creedence Clearwater Revival song, and it's the most awkward, forced in pop culture reference I've ever heard. And they even try to turn it into like a catchphrase at the end of the movie, like a yippee ki yay motherfucker, like Die Hard type catchphrase, and it falls so flat. It's almost memorable, like how bad that part was. I don't know if it was trying to be bad or sarcastic or something, but it really, either way, it doesn't work. Yeah, this one just annoyed me. I just found it annoying. I could see someone liking it though. Like, if you're into dark thrillers and the things that bother me don't bother you, I could see liking it. I just really didn't like it very much at all. I will say that this is an Australian movie involving surfing, and there is another Australian movie involving surfing much, much higher on the list that I loved, so that's kind of like the antidote to this one, I guess. All right, number 29 is Riff Raff. This is one of those that's technically a 2024 movie, but didn't get a wide release until 2025, so I'm counting it. And this one had a really good cast and the kind of thing I'm drawn to, like a comedy crime thriller.
I got emotions. What, I'm not allowed? Of course there are.
And it's an okay movie. It's not the worst thing I've seen, but like there's some funny parts and some good acting and stuff. But it felt like it needed another rewrite on the script, and the tone just isn't there. Like the tone just was not nailed down. Like when you think about the best movies, or some of my favorites at least, movies in the comedy crime genre, like I don't know, Get Shorty or My Cousin Vinny, they really nail the tone down where it's like every scene, every line of dialogue comes from that comedic thriller kind of perspective. And you watch a movie like this and you get some of that, and then you have these like scenes where they're genuinely trying to get you to care about this family drama. It's like I don't want to care about a family drama when I'm watching a comedic crime thriller, like not this seriously at least. Or there's a way you can put serious things in the movie, but there's a way to present it, but they just don't nail down the tone, and that happens with some of the movies towards the bottom. It's kind of a common theme I noticed with some of the movies I liked less this year. So I gave Riff Raff 2.5 stars. Everything else is 3 stars or above. So that's what I mean when I say that I like most of these movies. But there's a lot of 3.5 stars also. The next movie, number 28, was Clown in a Cornfield. It's a horror movie, kind of a horror comedy, and it's decent enough. It's cheesy as you'd expect, but I almost wish they'd embraced the cheesiness more. They kind of wanted to. It kind of ping pongs back and forth between slasher movie, comedy, and kind of a political allegory a little bit, and I don't think it quite sticks the landing as far as blending all three. But it was alright. Parts of it kind of bugged me or kind of annoyed me, and parts of it I kind of liked, but it was just decent. Number 27 was kind of a disappointment. I went in expecting to really like it or hoping to really like it because it's by Darren Aronofsky, who I don't know if he's one of my favorite filmmakers, but I do love Requiem for a Dream and Black Swan and Pi also, and some of his other movies are pretty good too. I respect Mother, and even when they miss, they're interesting. The movie's called Caught Stealing. I forgot to mention that when I recorded it, so throwing that in there right here. And this one seemed like it was going to be a bit more lighthearted. I mean, it's not lighthearted. It's pretty violent and not like a family movie by any means. But it's not as like cerebral and subversive as those other movies. More of a straightforward kind of crime thriller. And I just had trouble getting into the characters. I don't know why. Just had trouble getting into the main character, and there's a lot of like these kind of dark, villain characters that reminded me of like Guy Ritchie movies where it's like trying to be really clever, and I don't know, this wasn't quite my thing. I think most people would probably like this who are into those kind of movies. I might have just been in a bad mood the day I saw it, but it just didn't quite rub me the right way, but it was also not a bad movie, just didn't quite do it for me in the way I hoped it would. Alright, we're still on 3 stars. Number 26 was Roofman. And this one's decent. It was about a guy who breaks into restaurants through the roofs and robs them. Based on a true story, I believe, but, an absurd premise like that. He also hides out in a Toys R Us for like 2 or 3 months, and that's kind of the main meat of the movie. And so with that kind of premise, I just wish it had a better... It's the tonal thing again, where I kind of want a more absurd comedy, a more fun movie. It gets a little serious, he like meets people and has a relationship, and it's just a little too earnest for for what I wanted from the movie. And it's okay. I kind of enjoyed it, didn't hate it, but wish it had a little bit of a different vision, went in a little bit of a different direction, I guess. All right, next up, number 25 is Mickey 17, 3 stars out of 5. This is Bong Joon-ho's follow-up to Parasite, and on that level, it's definitely a bit disappointing, but I thought it was pretty good for a while. I thought the premise was good. I thought it was engaging. It just goes on way too long, and it doesn't have enough substance to justify the length, and after a while, it just gets a little tiresome, but it's not a bad movie. I kind of liked it. It just needed some editing, maybe a rewrite, maybe just some editing to make it better. But decent, not bad. Alright, number 24 is Sacramento. And this one was interesting. I kind of hated this movie in some parts, and I really liked it in other parts. But I'm still giving it 3 out of 5. It's about these two really, really annoying people. One's played by Michael Cera. I forget who plays the other one. But they're just really awful and really irritating. But I don't know if the movie's trying to present them as that. I mean, obviously they're trying to present them as people with problems. The only way I can describe them, especially the Michael Cera character, it's like if you take someone with a lot of problems, who's like has terrible anxiety and just really selfish and passive aggressive, and put him in therapy, and then he comes out and he's still just as bad of a person, but now he can use like advanced therapy language to describe how he's feeling, but he's not actually any better off. That's how annoying he is. But anyway, and Michael Cera's character needed medication. Like I thought the whole movie was going to be building up to a reveal of what his mental condition was, and at the end of the movie he does this thing that's like crazy, and it's like, okay, this guy needs to be medicated or maybe even put into a home or something, but it's just like never addressed. It's like, oh, what a quirky guy doing quirky things. And so yeah, that whole aspect was weird. It was a hard movie to watch at parts, but I also really liked some of it a lot. Like there's a scene where the two main characters have a boxing match, and it's set to "Hit the Ground Running" by Smog. And any movie that has that, I'm gonna like it a little bit because that's an amazing song, and that's what film is all about. Scenes like that for me. So yeah, I liked parts of it, and I just found it weird and frustrating at other parts. And yeah, we need to medicate Michael Cera's character for sure. And maybe the other guy too. They're both pretty. They're both got some problems. They're both very very annoying people. All right, number 23, The Monkey. The Monkey. This is a horror movie about a killer toy monkey, and it's got some really good aspects to it. The kills are really pretty creative and very disgusting and gory if you're into that, and kind of funny too, though. First half is really good. It starts off in the past and then it kind of jumps to the present day. And the setup is really good. It lasts like 30, 40 minutes. Yeah, I was definitely on board for a while when they showed him his childhood and the monkey situation, what was going on with the monkey and all that. And when it jumps to present day, the tonal thing happens again, what I was talking about earlier, where all of a sudden it's like a family drama for a while. And I just didn't want to. I wasn't there to see a movie about a father and son trying to, to bond. I mean, you could have that in there, but they just spent too much time on it. It was too serious. And then it's back to the goofy kills and the people getting blown away by shotguns that are rigged and people getting electrocuted and dying in all these horrible ways. I would say watch it if you're into horror movies, and if you like horror comedies, give it a watch. If you are into creative kills and all that, give it a watch. But they don't nail it. They don't quite get it right, in my opinion. But it wasn't bad. Had some good parts to it. All right, now we're up to 3.5 stars. The Monkey was 3 stars. This next movie I bumped up to 3.5. It is Black Bag. This is a new film by Steven Soderbergh, who again, not one of my all-time favorite directors, but has made some of my all-time favorite movies, like Out of Sight and Sex, Lies, and Videotape, and then some other, lower tier but still really good movies like The Limey, Traffic. I guess I'm naming all his old movies. I haven't really kept up with his career, to be honest, but I like those old ones, the 90s, early 2000s ones. So this movie, it's a really, really well-made movie that I just don't care that much about, is the way I would describe it. It's clever, it's well-crafted, well-written, but the characters are just kind of these bougie jerks, and the movie kind of evaporates from my psyche when it's done. And I enjoyed it while I watched it. I recommend it if you just want to watch a thriller that's well-made. You might even love it. I've seen some people rank this as like their favorite movie of the year, one of their favorites. Definitely wasn't that for me, but it was fine. It was good. Very, very well-made movie. Very well made. Number 21 is 28 Years Later. I should have had this at 28. That would have been a good match, but it's better than 28. It's 21. It's a good movie. It has some very memorable, very good scenes. It just goes places where I was kind of, as a viewing experience in the theater, I was kind of like, okay, I guess we're going here. I'm not super on board or engaged, but I'll go with it, I guess. And provided more memorable scenes. And I've only seen 28 Days Later. I never saw 28 Weeks Later, so I don't know if I needed to see that to fill in some gaps in the story or whatever. I don't think so. But this is one you might love it, you might not like it. I thought it was pretty good. Not super passionate about it one way or another. All right, adding an editor's note here. I completely forgot that I saw Zootopia 2 this year also. So I have already recorded the rest of this video, so it's too late to go back and change the order and change the numbers and all that. But Zootopia 2 would be about right here. I'd probably give it 3.5 stars. It was good, enjoyable. Not as good as the first one, but Had a fun time with it. Don't have a lot to say about it. It's a kid's movie, and it's good. Number 20 is The Phoenician Scheme, the new Wes Anderson movie. I have a complicated relationship with Wes Anderson. I like some of his movies a lot. It's always the movies I've seen more than once. I never really like his movies the first time I see them. And then when I watch them a second time, I'll either like him more or like him a lot less. So the ones I tend to like most are his early stuff, like the Bottle Rocket, Rushmore, Royal Tenenbaums, those movies. When he really nailed his style down and became like Wes Anderson officially, that's kind of when I. It's not that I don't like them. I still like some of the later movies a little bit, but I'm just not naturally drawn to his style. It's kind of the opposite of what I like in film, to be honest. Like that whole perfectly framed, nobody shows emotion. Not that's not true, but I don't know how to describe it. Like nobody ever twists their arm the wrong way or steps out of frame a little bit. It's just everything is dialed in, and I don't know. When I watch a Wes Anderson movie, I want to go in there and start like throwing stuff around and just like messing it all up. It just frustrates me how the aesthetic is. It frustrates my brain because I like chaos, and I don't like seeing something so perfectly aestheticized. But I do respect Wes Anderson. I mean, he's an auteur filmmaker who has his own style, and I always respect that. And I like some of his movies. This one was good. Had some good characters, some memorable scenes. Parts of it were kind of boring. I like some of the characters a lot. The main female lead, I can't remember her name, but she's not very famous, but she was really good in it. And did not like Michael Cera's character once again. Something about him this year just didn't do it for me. I've liked him in the past, like in Superbad when he was younger and stuff like that, but not doing it for me this year. But it's pretty good. If you like Wes Anderson, you probably like it. Just not one of my personal favorites of the year. Alright, we're still at 3.5 stars, and number 19 is F1, new blockbuster with Brad Pitt about Formula One racing. Some incredible scenes in this one, some great action scenes with the racing cars and all that good stuff. It's just way too long. It could have been a great movie. It could have been like one of the best of the year if they had found a way to cut it to like 2 hours or something, but it's like 2.5 or maybe even longer than that. And you just feel like you're in the theater forever. But the scenes that are great are very memorable. And it was a good time, but at a certain point I was really wanting it to end. But I gotta give it respect for the staging of the action scenes and just the entertainment value when it was there, even though it overstayed its welcome quite a bit. Number 18 is The Naked Gun. This is a pretty funny movie. I enjoyed it. I think that this was kind of situational as to why I didn't like it even more. I saw an early showing of it around like noon or something, and the audience wasn't really laughing that much. And it was just a weird vibe in the theater, and I think it rubbed off on me, but because I was definitely laughing at some of the parts, but I feel like if I had seen it in a theater with like full crowd, everyone laughing at everything, it would have enhanced my enjoyment of the movie. But yeah, it was good for what it was. I liked it. Alright, number 17. This might be a bit controversial for anyone who cares as far as my ranking this relatively low compared to other people. It is Sentimental Value. This is kind of similar to Black Bag, where it's like perfectly made movie, no notes, great job, just not one of my favorites. I will say that I was complaining about too much family drama in some of the earlier movies. This is a movie where there's family drama, and it's appropriate that there's family drama. Notice they don't throw in monkeys killing people in this movie. Like they throw family drama into movies about monkeys killing people. Anyway, it was good. The acting's all great. Writing's really good. Perfectly made movie. It just never gave me that extra feeling that I was watching something I really love. There's a funny scene in the movie where the father is giving a kid who's like 10 years old a birthday gift, and it's DVDs, and they're DVDs of all these really disturbing movies like Irreversible and The Piano Teacher. And that was pretty funny. That was probably the most memorable scene for me. Alright, number 16 is Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. I like this one more than I thought I would. Not generally that into these biopics of musicians. I mean, I liked A Complete Unknown, but that's just because I'm such a huge Bob Dylan fan. I just couldn't help but like it. But even that one, was it necessary? Not really. And I'm not even a huge Springsteen fan. I do like his music, but this is probably the one era that of his career that I would be interested in a movie about. And I thought it was pretty cool that they picked like the Nebraska era when he was introverted and wanted to do something just personal and acoustic and wanted it out of the spotlight. I thought that was probably the one Springsteen movie I would be interested in. So I'm glad they picked that as the subject of the movie. And it's good. It's not perfect. I had some minor issues with it, and it's still just a musician biopic. It's not going to be my favorite movie of the year, but I liked it. All right, number 15 was this was a surprise because it's kind of a schlocky, shallow movie, but I enjoyed it. And sometimes I'd rather watch a shallow movie that's good than a deep movie that's kind of boring. And this movie was Drop. It was kind of like a throwback to some of the thrillers in the '90s that are more kind of surface level but genuinely engaging and entertaining. If someone hated this movie, I wouldn't blame them. It's not always realistic, and it's why would I care if someone doesn't like this movie? It's not something I'm passionate about. I just enjoyed it while I was there, and I pretty much forgot about it. But I might even watch it again if someone wanted to watch it. And then number 14 is the polar opposite for me. It's a movie that I struggle with when I'm watching it, but then it sticks with me after I watch it. And I watched it twice. I thought I would like it more the second time, but I actually liked it less. This was in my top 10, like bottom of my top 10 at first, and I watched it again and I dropped it to number 14. It's Eddington. This movie is interesting because I actually enjoy people talking about and writing about this movie more than I enjoy the actual movie. Like when I see write-ups or talk to people who love this movie, it sounds really interesting and I agree with everything they're saying about it, and the approach the movie takes and the political aspect is interesting to discuss, but when you actually watch the movie, it's kind of awkwardly paced, it's kind of unsatisfying. I feel like it should have gone one way or another. Like it should have either been an epic Robert Altman style, just like 3 hour epic movie with lots of characters, kind of like Nashville or something, or it should have been a tighter, more satisfying thriller, like No Country for Old Men, which No Country for Old Men also bucks a lot of conventions and is doesn't try too hard to satisfy the audience, but it's still an engaging movie to watch. Whereas Eddington, it's not that it's not engaging, it's just kind of frustrating to watch. And I feel that way about a lot of Ari Aster movies, maybe all of them, where they stick with me after I watch them, but I just wish that they were more satisfying viewing experiences. I don't know if he's doing that on purpose. I suspect he tries to frustrate the audience on purpose, which I get, but I'm not a big fan of. I feel like you can make an impactful movie without being annoying about the way you tell the story. I'm not sure how I feel about the political aspect. It seems a little bit like it should have been made at the time in 2020 or maybe like 5 years from now when we're a little further distance from it. But I still think it's a good movie and it deserves to be this high because of the impact it left on me and all the discussion it has caused. And it is a unique movie. It's one of a kind. I should also mention this is the first movie on the list that I own on Blu-ray. I was at Barnes & Noble and just kind of bought it on a whim because I wanted to see it again. I'd only seen it once. And the second time I watched it, like I said, I liked it even less. But I do own it now, and so I'll probably give it another watch at some point. Maybe I'll like it more the third, fourth time. But I'm going to keep it because I like the way the orange spine looks in my Blu-ray collection. Alright, at number 13, we're back to the guilty pleasure schlock. So Eddington is sandwiched between two movies that are like its opposite. This is The Housemaid, which I just saw. It was the most recent one I saw. Yeah, just a very enjoyable movie. Maybe the least boring movie I saw this year. I don't think it was ever one time I was, thinking about the time or how much longer it would take. But it's still a schlocky, shallow kind of movie. But it's good. It's about as well made as you can make these kind of movies. It's a thriller, and there's more twists and more. It goes deeper with some of the disturbing elements than I expected it to. It's like a really well-made, made-for-TV movie that goes darker than those movies would. All right, moving from the last movie I saw to the first movie I saw this year. Number 12 is Companion, and now we're bumping it up to 4 stars. This is the first 4-star movie on the list. And to be fair, I should probably watch this one again to make sure it really belongs here. But I gave it 4 stars at the time. I remember liking it quite a bit. Just a good thriller with some twists. I would recommend not watching a trailer or reading anything about it. I won't spoil anything about it. I would say just go in blind. In fact, I think I'll stop talking about it because if I talk too in depth about it, I'm going to end up giving away something about it, and I'd rather not. So, yeah, number 12, Companion. Good movie. And then number 11 is a movie that I feel like I should watch again. I could see it getting higher on the list. I could also see this becoming like a cult classic in years to come. This is Friendship. It's a comedy, kind of an awkward, slightly disturbing comedy with a little bit of a thriller element to it. It's a movie that I left the theater not knowing exactly how I felt about it, but I knew I was leaning towards liking it. And it stuck with me. I've thought about it, and I want to watch it again. But I'm going to rank it right here, just outside the top 10 for now, because it has stuck with me, and there's scenes that I still think about, and I still kind of laugh to myself when I think about one involving ordering a sandwich at Subway, which I've told multiple friends about. If you don't like movies where the main character isn't likable or sympathetic, you probably won't like this movie at all. Definitely not the most likable guy in the world. And there's some weird stuff that raises some questions, like why does his wife even like him? Why did she even marry him to begin with? But, you can make up your own mind about that. And it's a comedy, it doesn't have to be that deep, I guess. But yeah, it's a good one that I want to watch again, and I feel like it could move up or down on second viewing. Alright, now we are in the top 10. These are all 4 stars or above. And number 10 surprised me a lot, and it might even be a surprise to you listening to this. It is Final Destination Bloodlines. This is about as good as you can make one of these movies. They did everything right. Great execution of these kind of movies. And I'd never seen any of the Final Destination movies before I saw this, so I went ahead and watched the first 3. And without the, nostalgia goggles on, because I'd never seen them when I was younger, never saw them when they came out, or since then, Final Destination Bloodlines is way better than the first 3. Like, significantly better. It just does everything better. Far more entertaining. The death scenes are a lot better. The characters are a lot more engaging. It's just more fun to watch. The humor is a lot better. This movie's hilarious. They really get the humor right. And the ending is perfect. And thing about the first 3 movies, they all have a great opening scene, and then the rest of the movie is just kind of predictable. And this movie has an even better opening scene. Like, the opening scene, when I was in the theater, it was so intense and stressful. I actually had to pee like twice in the first hour just because it was like it was just such a well-crafted, intense, just the tension in that opening scene was amazing for these kind of movies. And yeah, I've held my interest the whole time, was never bored. Humor in the right parts, disturbing in the right parts, and yeah, they nailed it. It's a 4 star out of 5 because that's about, it's not gonna be my favorite movie of the year. It's not gonna leave, that much of an impact on me. It's just a Final Destination movie, but grading on a curve, it's like a 5-star movie. It's a 5-star movie if we're grading on a curve for Final Destination movies. I'll say that. All right, number 9 is another mainstream horror movie that surprised me. This is Heart Eyes. I saw the trailer for this and I thought it looked bad, like I didn't want to see it, and then saw a few good reviews of it online, so I checked it out, and it's really good. It is a horror mixed with a romantic comedy. And just the romantic comedy element is better than most actual romantic comedies that you see today. So you get that, and then you also get a slasher movie with some pretty disgusting, gory kills. If you're into that kind of thing, which I sometimes am. And this is an example of a movie where they blended it really well. Like, I was talking about the tonal issues with some of my movies earlier on the list, where they would throw in like some seriousness or some sappiness or some family drama or whatever. and I didn't like it there. But here, it's perfect because it was actually part of the whole concept, and from the beginning, it's kind of meant to be an homage to screwball comedies of the 1930s, like some of those Cary Grant, Audrey Hepburn movies, like Bringing Up Baby, His Girl Friday, stuff like that. And right there, that's pretty cool. You don't see a mainstream horror movie with that deep of a influence. Like, so that's pretty unique right there. And then they even kind of make that point clear when they show one of the scenes later in the movie is at a drive-in movie theater, and they're watching His Girl Friday. So they wanted to let you know, for people who know, that this is a homage to those type of movies. But I just really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the horror and the romantic comedy aspect of it. The characters were likable and engaging, and I would watch it again. I have only seen it once, but I would definitely watch it again. Was not expecting it to land this high on my list, but it was a good one. All right, number 8 on my top movies of 2025. We're still at 4 stars, but I'd say we're at a high 4 stars at this point. It was Lurker. Lurker is a movie that I had never heard of until the day I saw it. I wanted to see a movie. I looked at what was playing. I might have looked at the Rotten Tomatoes score. I can't remember, but I might not have even done that. I might have just kind of gone in totally blind. And it was really good. Kind of a low budget movie about a parasocial relationship with a rock star and this guy infiltrating the world of the rock star. Very creepy but engaging movie from a filmmaker. I'm not sure if it's his first movie, but I would definitely watch more movies from whoever the director is. I don't know his name offhand. But there's even some music I really like in the movie. There's one song called Love and Obsession, and I play it all the time. It was like it was on my Spotify most played playlist. So not only did I really like the movie, but got some new music out of it as well. But this movie really left an impact on me. While I was watching it, I wasn't thinking it was like necessarily one of the best of the year, but when I came out of the theater, it stuck with me. I kind of thought that was a really good movie. I really liked that one a lot. Number 7 is Begonia, the new movie by Yorgos Lanthimos, who I've never been a fan of in the past. I haven't seen all his movies. I did not see Poor Things or any of his recent ones. I tried to watch The Lobster, couldn't get into it. I think the same thing with Killing of a Sacred Deer. Just something about those movies did not do it for me. But this one I loved. I gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd, but it probably deserves 4.5. But I'll say really high 4 stars for now. Who cares? Star ratings, whatever. What I like about this movie, it's just really well made, well acted, really entertaining, all that good stuff. But it keeps you guessing the whole way through. You're never sure what the reality of the situation is, what the reality of these characters are. And the ending is the kind of thing I normally wouldn't like, but because of the way it's presented and the song they use, it was great. One of the most memorable scenes I saw all year. I also like the way it kind of found a way to use the modern political landscape in a way that worked for the story. It wasn't meant to portray any particular political belief. Not that there's anything wrong with movies that do that either. But in this movie, it was just so organic to the story and to the characters. It worked really well. And I want to watch this one again. I'll probably buy the Blu-ray when it comes out. Great movie. All right, number 6. We're bumping it up to 4.5. Gotta go 4.5 on this one. Just saw this one on Christmas Day. Marty Supreme. What a wild ride this movie was. It is by the Safdie brothers. Or I'm sorry, one of the Safdie brothers. The other Safdie brother did some movie with The Rock about him smashing things, which I did not see. But this movie was excellent. Timothée Chalamet is a ping pong player, and there's a ping pong tournament at the beginning and the end, and everything in between is just him being a chaotic, manipulative jerk, and it's awesome. It's kind of similar to Uncut Gems, the last Safdie Brothers movie, in that it has a lot of high tension, high anxiety, fast-paced stuff going on, but I loved Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems was great, but I think I like this one a bit more because it was more fun to watch. Uncut Gems was so stressful and so intense, I almost appreciate it more than I actually enjoy it. Whereas in Marty Supreme, the chaos and the intensity makes the movie more entertaining, and it's easier to process for me, at least emotionally. There's a scene with Tyler the Creator in the middle, and it's one of the most exciting and enjoyable sequences of film I saw all year. Definitely recommend Marty Supreme. I will be watching it again. Fantastic movie, highly entertaining for its entire 2.5 hour runtime or whatever it was. Yeah, great movie. All right, and my number 5 movie of the year, still at 4.5 stars for anyone counting, is the most niche movie on my list, but I love it, obviously. We're getting up to the top of the list now, so I'm going to love all these movies. It's called Pavements. It's a half documentary, half mockumentary about the band Pavement, which is one of my all-time favorite bands. And honestly, when I watched it, I didn't know what was real and what was fake, but I just love the way they presented it. And being a Pavement fan, I was just engaged with everything, all the music and everything. And I still don't even really know what was real and what was fake. They filmed scenes from a supposed Pavement movie that was happening about, like a biopic about Pavement. And when I was watching the Pavements, I thought it was a real movie. I found out later it was fake. Actually, that one I could kind of tell because the acting was just off. But there's a Pavement museum in there. There's a Pavement Broadway musical. I think some of them might have been real, but maybe made for the movie. But I just had a blast with this movie. I had to drive to Portland to see it, which is about 3 hours away from where I live. So maybe that has something to do with why I loved it so much. When you drive that way, you want to get into something. So I had to drive to see it, but I'm glad I did. Loved it. Loved everything about it. Own it on Blu-ray, and I'll watch it many more times. All right, number 4 is Weapons. This was such a good year for horror movies, and this was one of the best. Maybe the best, maybe not. I'm not going to spoil it. But just the idea alone of taking the multi-character ensemble style of storytelling that was popular in the 90s. You had movies like Magnolia, Go, some more obscure ones like Grand Canyon, Mystery Train. I guess Pulp Fiction would count as well. As would some Robert Altman movies like Shortcuts and Nashville. But anyway, that style of storytelling, which there's been some movies like that since the 90s, but it was particularly popular then. And putting that style into a horror movie is just such a cool idea. And not only is it a great idea, but they pulled it off pretty much perfectly. All these stories and the way that they interact and the way they're told just work really well. But as a horror movie, it's also awesome. The atmosphere, that great opening scene with the narration and the George Harrison song. And the comedy also is brilliantly infused into this movie. And I think it uses the comedy as a way to make the movie more sophisticated and original and just more enjoyable too. Because I'd rather, see some good slapstick comedy or some kind of surprise humor rather than the same old, chase jump scare type stuff. And they use that really well. I think that the way it's implemented is great. The ending is maybe the weakest part, but it's still really good. The climax with the final fate of the villain is so memorable and so out there and gory and just crazy. I liked the slow reveal of the villain. It's not the most twisty or kind of shocking, reveal, but I kind of like the fact that they didn't feel the need to do like an M. Night Shyamalan style twist like you'd expect a horror movie to do these days. It just kind of revealed who it was and what their motives were. And it wasn't mind-blowing, but it was memorable, and it did not spoil the brilliance of the rest of the movie at all. And I own this one on Blu-ray. I've watched it twice, and I'll watch it again. All right, now we're into the top 3. Now we're getting to, these could be on my list of my all-time favorite movies. Though we're still at 4.5 stars as of now, but these could easily become 5-star movies if I watch them a few more times. And number 3 is Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another. Paul Thomas Anderson, I'd call him one of my favorite directors, but the only movie I'm really, really in love with is Boogie Nights. That movie I've seen 100 times, and I could watch it 100 more times. It's the kind of movie that's better the 20th time than it is the first time. It's so rewatchable, so many amazing Scenes, lines, camera shots. I could talk about that movie for days, man. I love it so much. Top 5 of all time. And I was thinking about it, and One Battle After Another might be my second favorite of his. Because while I like all his movies, I have issues with pretty much all of his other ones. Magnolia might be the only one that would be a possible number 2 other than One Battle After Another. But I watched that movie again recently, and I still really like it, but there's some flaws with that movie for sure. And One Battle After Another is just such an undeniably great movie with some amazing scenes and so compelling the whole way through. Very long. It's a lot to sit through. It feels like you sat through like 5 movies when you come out of the theater, but not in a bad way. In a way that makes you think, wow, I just watched a great movie. I'd like to watch that again someday. I've actually seen it twice. I saw it once by myself in IMAX, and I saw it with some friends after that, a few months later. And it was just as good the second time, so I don't think it's going to go down in my ranking too much. Might even move up, who knows. The sequence when Leonardo DiCaprio escapes his house and goes and hides out with Benicio del Toro, that's amazing. That's what cinema is all about. When I buy the Blu-ray of this movie, I'll probably watch that over and over again on loop. It's like a half-hour sequence with this amazing one-note piano music just playing. It's so intense. The staging is amazing. There's all this chaos in the streets and all these people at Benicio's house yelling and shouting in Spanish. I don't know how he pulled it off. It's amazing. It's so good. And the end sequence with the rolling hills, the way that's shot is amazing. Sean Penn is very memorable. The whole cast is great. Why it's only number 3 and why it didn't get to 5 stars, I haven't quite figured out yet. It just didn't inspire me to quite give it 5 stars yet, but that could change with more viewings for sure. Alright, my number 2 is a movie I haven't seen on anybody else's list. I think it's technically a 2024 movie. I know it says it is, but it didn't get a wide release until May, at least where I live. And I think that's what it said on Wikipedia too, that was when the wide release happened in the US, so I say it's a 2025 movie. And it is The Surfer, starring Nicolas Cage. I freaking love this movie. I saw it early in the year, and I came out of the theater just so giddy. I was like, that's my movie of the year. And most people haven't seen it, and people who have seen it tend to either not like it much or think it's pretty good, but I just love it. It's Nicolas Cage in Australia. This is the other Australian surfing movie I was talking about, if you remember back. At the beginning of the video I mentioned that. He gets harassed by this gang of surfers when he's trying to buy his childhood home back at this beach town in Australia. And then more and more bad, unfortunate events happen to him, caused by the locals in the town. And it gets more and more weird and bizarre, which I love. The cinematography and the sound design creates this real trippy atmosphere that gives it kind of like an art film feel, but not in a bad way, in like a really engaging way. It gets even more trippy and more surreal as it goes along, and I think part of the reason I like this movie so much is because it's so unhinged. Not that it's the craziest movie ever, it feels like the filmmakers and the actors didn't really care what they were making. They just kind of wanted to make a weird, cool movie and didn't try to follow a lot of rules or try to live up to an audience expectation. And, I love the energy and the vibe that comes along with that when I'm watching a movie, because it doesn't happen all the time. I know Nicolas Cage has done a lot of really terrible movies in the last 20 years, but when he makes a good one, they're really good, like this or Mandy. Very, very special films. I own it on Blu-ray, watched it again, I liked it. I'd say just as much. Maybe it wasn't the same elation as that first theater-going experience, but I loved it pretty much just as much the second time. And I will watch it again. And this movie also has saved my top 5 from being, or my top 4, because 5 was Pavements, that's not on everyone's list, but this has saved my top 4 from being too cliche, because my number 1 is very cliche as well, as far as like on a lot of other lists, but I ain't seen The Surfer on a lot of lists, so glad I could put this at number 2. Alright, and my number 1 movie, probably not too shocking, is Sinners. I actually put off seeing this one for a while. I don't know why. I heard it was really good. It was getting really good reviews. I thought it was just going to be a movie about a guy who goes around shooting vampires like Blade or something, and I was like, okay, it's probably a good action movie or whatever. And then right before I saw it, I heard it was kind of similar From Dusk Till Dawn, but set in the Prohibition era. So I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of interesting. And then I saw it and came away thinking it was freaking amazing. And I've seen it 4 times now, and I own the Blu-ray. It's just such an incredible blending of different genres. You know, this is so far away from that those movies with the tonal issues I was talking about, where they try to throw drama into a comedy where it doesn't work. This movie goes in saying we want to be a Prohibition era gangster movie, we want to be a vampire movie, we want to be a musical, we want to be an action movie. You know, it blends all these different genres so well. Characters are amazing, the acting's amazing, the music is great, the way it builds tension is perfect. The atmosphere. It was easily the most emotional movie I saw. It makes me cry when I watch it. Like the last scene, there's like a post credit scene or a mid credit scene, and I tear up at that scene for some reason. I don't know why. And the sequence in the middle of the movie, I'll call it the scene where he conjures spirits of the past and future. It's one of the best scenes I've ever seen in a movie. Every time that happens, I just get like goosebumps, chills, all the cliches. And even though the vampires don't show up until halfway through the movie, I think it's actually good to spoil that aspect because I went in expecting a vampire movie and I got all this other stuff and a vampire movie. And the people who I've read who didn't like it, I think knew nothing about the movie and were enjoying the Prohibition era blues music stuff. And then when the vampires came in, they're like, what is this, a horror movie now? And so I think it's good to know what you're getting into with this one, actually. I have seen some people mention, and fairly, and it's a pretty obvious thing, but how similar this movie is to From Dusk Till Dawn. And some people say it in a negative way, like it's a ripoff or something. But this movie is so much better than From Dusk Till Dawn. And I like From Dusk Till Dawn a lot. I especially like the first half. When the vampires come in From Dusk Till Dawn, it kind of turns into just a one-note monster movie. You can almost turn off the movie at that point. Not that it's bad, it's just kind of like nothing too special happens. It's just chaos. This movie, when the vampires come in, the movie actually gets more engaging and enhances the themes and the style and the entertainment value, and it just adds a whole nother dimension to the movie. But yeah, Sinner is my #1 movie of the year. And with Sinners, beyond just really liking the movie a lot, as an event, I hope it has a positive impact on the film industry because the movie was fairly high budget, I believe, and it was made by a director who's had some big hits like Black Panther and some other movies like that. And I hope it encourages studios to fund more unique and personal, original movies like this because I think it did pretty well at the box office. So, and it certainly did well as far as making a cultural impact in the film world. So hopefully that's hopefully the studios as we speak are contemplating how to make the next Sinners, and hopefully they don't just rip off the movie, but go with that same spirit of funding a movie with an original vision. So that's my entire list. Thank you for listening if you got this far into it. I probably should have just made a short 10-minute video of my 5 favorites or something like that, but I don't know. I've been wanting to rank all the ones I saw, and I had an even 30. Just seemed like a good video to do. Hope this video finds a few people out there. If it doesn't, that's alright. I had fun making it. This probably won't be my final list because I'm sure I'll see a lot more movies from this year, even in short coming months, but I wanted to document everything I saw in the theater, like right as soon as the year ended, and hope you enjoyed it.